Basketball, baseball, and track. Do it all, Dave Hohman. The first Tiger hoopster to break 1,000 points. Dave ended up with 1,371 in his career, leading the Tigers in rebounding as well. The team was conference champion and participated in the playoffs. He received numerous media honors during his high school career. Dave then played at the University of Chicago while pursuing an MBA degree. His efforts were rewarded with a Leadership and Teamwork Award, and he was named team captain his senior year. Dave now coaches girls basketball and fast pitch softball. For 4 years, he was president of the Naperville, Illinois Softball Association, still giving back to his community. Please welcome from the class of 1981, Hall of Fame inductee, Dave Hohman.
Thank you for inducting me into the North Allegheny Hall of Fame. Much like Joe, when I got the call, I was at a client, and Dr. Kaufman called me, and I literally said to him, "You got the wrong guy." He had to called me twice, I think, to convince me that I'd actually been inducted to the Hall of Fame. That's how great an honor I really believe this is. It's a dream come true for me and my family in many ways. And as we all know, dreams start when you're really young, and they turn into goals, and you kind of chase them. They become a little more concrete, but you never lose your dreams. And tonight, I really hope that my dad is watching from above, looking down upon our family, and enjoying this moment. He's the one that started dreaming for me. He really loved sports, and when I was a little kid, I can remember going to Three River Stadium and going to see the Pirates or the Steelers. And many of you might remember in those days, Federal Street wasn't the greatest area. There were some pretty tough bars and stuff. I'd grab Dad's hand, he'd take me through that area back to the car, and we talked sports all the time. We talked about coaches, strategy, players, and that's where my dream started. My dad was a high school principal. And he was he started at Edgewood, and then went to Montour, and then our rival North Hills. So think about that household. Okay, my dad's a principal at North Hills. First game I go to play as a sophomore. No, as a freshman. I played a little bit on the varsity as a freshman. My freshman year, the stands at North Hills. My dad's name was Eugene. There we are. Eugene. As I'm going through warm-ups. So that was my indoctrination. And the good news is that Coach Caldwell helped point out that I ended up having my best games against North Hills in those days. So vindicated Dad a little bit. But I learned how to dream through him, through his love of sports. And Dr. Kaufman can attest. I was a guy out in the backyard, throwing the football to myself, throwing the ball off the wall, shooting hoops, and what was I doing all the time? I was dreaming about scoring the winning basket, scoring the winning touchdown, and striking out the last hitter in the last inning of the last game. So that's really where it all starts as an athlete. You have to dream. You have to dream about what can I be, and that's why tonight is such a great honor for me, because I dreamed about being a great high school athlete. When my dad took me to those games, I looked up to those players. Steve Fidel was a guy who played at North Hills back in the early 70s, ended up playing for the Steelers for a while. And he played at Pitt. He was a tough guy. And I remember looking up to him as a kid and thinking, how can I be like him? How can I be that good? And this tonight, for me, is confirmation that I actually achieved that. And at this school, at this great institution, it is the pinnacle of my sports career, the pinnacle of my dreaming. And the thing that is makes me very proud as an individual is you think about what this school has accomplished. I mean, I'm old enough now to think about NA when the intermediate school was the high school, and we were still kind of out there a little bit and on our way up. now, NA is undoubtedly probably the best high school athletic program in the state of Pennsylvania. I mean, think about that. The size of this state. I live in Illinois now. I live in Chicago. And there are people in Chicago that I mentioned Pittsburgh, where I grew up, and I mentioned North Allegheny, and they've heard of North Allegheny. And that is because of all the great athletes and the great coaches and the great administrators and the great teachers that are part of this school. And all of you that are here tonight, have put this school on the map over the years. And to be honored as one of its best athletes in those years, I can't get a higher honor. I played basketball at Holy Cross in college. It was a good experience. I didn't really achieve my dreams there as I did here. But here, I mean, this is really big. This is really big for me, and I hope all of the inductees can appreciate what an accomplishment they've and a recognition this really is. I want to thank a few people tonight. I start with my mother. My dad was my inspiration for my dreams, but my mom was always there, kind of behind the scenes. Sometimes give me a little kick in the butt. Sometimes also, give me a hug or telling me it's going to be okay. Was always there for me. My sister Nancy, who was a gymnast here at NA, and not a soccer or volleyball player, but a gymnast. She was always kind of the one that had to listen to Dad and I talking about sports all the time, and watching the Steelers game, and watching the Pirates and all that. And she kind of hung out in the background, but she supported me throughout my career, and I always will appreciate that from her. Coach Caldwell, I can't thank you enough for what you taught me. I still use many of the things that I learned from you in life. We went through some tough times. I mean, in those days, NA was more of a football, wrestling school than it was basketball school. But I think we helped to kind of put on the map with Joe and some of the other guys that played for you. And I thank you for supporting me in this nomination process and all the hard work you did to put me through that. Dr. Kaufmel, I want to thank you for your support as well. Dr. Kaufmel and I were talking earlier about something, and he used to watch me. He lived 2 doors down from me on Balmoral Drive, and he would look at me, I'm sure, and go, I better go see his parents because I think he's a little nuts. He's out in the backyard rolling around pretending like he's playing football by himself. Is he all right? But he didn't never complain about the basketball bouncing at all hours of the night or any of that stuff. He was a great neighbor, and I appreciate his support. I want to thank the Hall of Fame committee. Many of you have already heard, and many of you are involved in volunteer activities. And for this committee to put the time and effort it does into this recognition, I can't thank you enough for that effort. It means a lot to me and to all of the inductees over the years, and it's truly an honor, and I thank you for your efforts. I want to recognize just a couple of other people, in my life. My wife Maureen has been a great support to me. She wasn't there back then, but she helps me to keep my competitive juices flowing today as I coach. My daughters, Erin and Shannon, are here tonight. They provide me a lot of joy, and I believe it was Kim that said earlier, you get those juices flowing again when you're coaching. When you're watching your kids, you're nervous, a little uptight, but you're also dreaming through them. So they've kept my dreams alive in sports, and I really like that. I think that's pretty cool. I have an older daughter who's at UTEP. She's a softball pitcher. She couldn't be here tonight, but she's also inspired me personally over the years. To all my teammates, I'm going to mention a few guys, and some of you, I'm sure, recognize a lot of these names. Greg Garrity, Donnie Hennon, Russ Demore, Brad Durbin, Ron Jelinek. There are a lot of guys over the years that, I was the kid. I was the little freshman. Jerry Wolf, Tony Tresser. They were seniors. I'm a freshman. And they supported me and helped me through a lot. And so did Joe Corey. And Joe, I thank you for the recognition that you've given me. And I thank you for being a great teammate. I remember a quick story, Joe. We were playing Highlands. You were a junior. I was a freshman. Highlands had a tough kid. I don't remember his name. But, I all of a sudden, a little, 15-year-old, decided I'm going to get chippy with this guy who's probably going to take my head off. And, and so Joe stepped right in, between us. And I think
might have been taking a punch for me in that game. But Joe, thank you for being a great teammate and pushing me to what I actually became. Dad, to my dad, I miss you. I miss you, and I miss holding your hand. I hope we're holding hands right now as I make this speech. All I can say in conclusion is keep dreaming. That's what makes life great. That's what makes us go through what we do every day, whether it's in business or medicine or law or being a parent or being an athlete. Keep dreaming. That's what it's all about, and that's why we're all here tonight. Thank you very much.